What if I told you that right now, in the heart of Africa, a historic shift is unfolding, one that could change the global balance of power forever? In the Sahel, a region long seen as fragile, poor, and dependent, the people are rising up. Leaders are breaking free. And for the first time in centuries, nations like Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger are taking back control of what was always theirs: their gold, their uranium, their destiny. This isn't just another African headline. This is a rebellion against centuries of exploitation. This is Africa saying, enough is enough. Today, we dive deep into how the Sahel took back its gold and uranium, why France and the West are panicking, and why this fight could reshape the entire future of Africa. Stay with me, because this story has everything: history, struggle, betrayal, resistance, and hope. Stretching across Africa from the Atlantic Ocean to the Red Sea, the Sahel is a vast strip of land. Harsh deserts, dry winds, and endless horizons. For decades, outsiders looked at it and saw poverty, instability, and terrorism. But beneath its soil lies a treasure chest: gold. Mali is Africa's third-largest gold producer. Burkina Faso and Niger are also rich in untapped reserves. Uranium. Niger alone holds some of the richest uranium deposits on Earth, powering nuclear plants in France and beyond. Other minerals: iron, ore, phosphates, oil, even lithium. On paper, the Sahel should be one of the richest regions in the world. In reality, the people of the Sahel are among the poorest. Why? Because for centuries, the wealth of this land flowed outward, to colonial capitals, to foreign corporations, to the global markets, while the people who dug the mines and worked the fields were left with nothing. This is the resource curse, when natural wealth becomes a weapon against the people who own it. And in the Sahel, this curse has lasted far too long. To understand the present, we have to go back. Back to when European powers carved up Africa in the Berlin Conference of 1884, with rulers, maps, and greed. For France, the Sahel was a prize. They called it French West Africa. They drew borders with no regard for tribes or cultures. They imposed their language, their flag, and their control. But the most important thing they imposed was economic domination. When Niger discovered uranium, France made sure French companies controlled it. Niger became the backbone of France's nuclear power industry. To this day, 1 in 3 light bulbs in France is powered by uranium from Niger. And yet, millions of Nigerians live without electricity. Mali and Burkina Faso, rich in gold, faced the same fate. French and Western mining corporations took the lion's share. The gold flowed outward. The people remained poor. Then came the CFA franc, the colonial currency. Even after independence in the 1960s, France tied 14 African countries, including those in the Sahel, to a currency controlled by Paris. To this day, those countries must keep half their foreign reserves in France's central bank. Think about that. Imagine a supposedly independent country that cannot even control its own money. Colonialism may have ended on paper, but in reality, France never let go. And for decades, African leaders who tried to resist, like Thomas Sankara of Burkina Faso, were silenced, overthrown, or assassinated. The Sahel was locked in a cycle: rich land, poor people, foreign control. Until now. Over the past 3 years, something historic has happened. In Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger, governments collapsed. Military coups swept across the region. At first, many thought it was just more instability. But something different was happening. These new leaders, Colonel Assimi Goïta in Mali, Captain Ibrahim Traore in Burkina Faso, General Abdourahmane Tiani in Niger, were not just seizing power. They were rejecting French control. Mali kicked out French troops. Burkina Faso ended French military bases. Niger expelled French diplomats and told Paris to leave its uranium mines alone. In September 2023, these 3 nations formed the Alliance of Sahel States, AES. A bold move, a regional pact of defense and cooperation, directly challenging ECOWAS, the West African bloc often seen as too close to France. Suddenly, the Sahel was speaking with one voice. Their message was clear: we will no longer be colonies. We will no longer give away our gold and uranium. We will rise. And for the first time in decades, ordinary Africans cheered. Across the Sahel, People poured into the streets, waving flags, burning French symbols, chanting, "Africa is free." This was more than politics. It was a revolution. Why is this fight so important? Because gold and uranium are not just resources. They are power. Gold. For centuries, gold has meant wealth, security, and influence. In times of global crisis, nations hoard gold to protect their economies. Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger hold billions in untapped reserves. If they control it, they control their future. Uranium, even more critical. Uranium powers nuclear plants, builds nuclear weapons, and secures energy independence. France depends on Niger's uranium to keep its lights on. Without it, the French economy would stumble. So when Niger said, "We're taking it back," it wasn't just about one country. It was about shaking the foundations of European energy security. And that's why the world is watching so closely. The West did not stay silent. France threatened sanctions. The EU warned of instability. The United States worried about terrorism and Russian influence. But in the background, other players were moving in. Russia, offering military support, weapons, and advisors. China, already Africa's biggest trading partner, hungry for resources. BRICS nations, inviting African states to join a new economic order. The Sahel has suddenly become the center of a new global tug-of-war. The new Cold War is being fought on African soil. But here's the twist. For once, Africa is not just a pawn. The Sahel is choosing its own path. So where does this go? Can the Sahel really manage its own wealth? The risks are real. Military regimes may struggle with corruption. Sanctions from ECOWAS and the West could hurt economies. Terrorist groups still operate in the region. But the opportunities are greater than ever. By controlling gold and uranium, the Sahel can build sovereign wealth funds. By joining BRICS, they can escape Western financial domination. By uniting, they can create a new African power bloc. This is bigger than the Sahel. This is about Africa's future. For too long, the continent has been seen as the world's supplier of raw materials, cheap labor, and markets. But now, nations are demanding to be partners, not pawns. If the Sahel succeeds, it could inspire a wave of independence across Africa. The Sahel has spoken. Its people are tired of exploitation. Its leaders are ready to challenge the old order. And the world is watching with fear and awe. For centuries, Africa's story was written by outsiders. Today, the Sahel is writing its own story. Gold and uranium are just the beginning. What's truly rising is a spirit. The spirit of Africa refusing to be silenced, refusing to be robbed, refusing to be controlled. This is not just the Sahel's fight. This is a fight for Africa's dignity, for its future, for its place in the world. The question is no longer if Africa will rise. The question is when. And the answer may be, right now.